SOSAD is a crucial part of the local community who are here to help anyone affected by suicide and or depression in any way. SOSAD started because I didn't want anybody to suffer like I did or my family did, and I still don't want anybody to suffer. So it's better that they come and talk to us here and we'll help them ease some of that suffering. Years ago, my son, Simon, when he was 15, we found out he was depressed. With the doctor's help and everything, we tried everything we could to get him some kind of proper help and support, and we could never get it. And unfortunately then he died by suicide in May 2003. After that, tried to get counselling support, bereavement support for his mother and his younger brother, Lee, who was a year younger than him, 15 at the time. And we never got any help and support. So, after Simon died, after the shock wore off, and we didn't know what had happened, we didn't know how many ways we had let Simon down, we started to research suicide. And in Ireland and around the world, we've done surveys around the world, in English-speaking countries around the world, and we actually found out that our story was typical. It wasn't exactly the same as every other story, but it was very, very similar. That just support services were not there. So all we decided to do at the time was, with the information we had, was set up a website as a kind of a guide or signpost for people looking for help and support. When we launched that in 2007, December 2007, then people kept ringing us, coming to us at work, queuing up my front door, to the house, looking for help and support. So from the study we done and the work we done, we knew there was a huge gap, if you want to call it, in the health services, especially for mental health, depression, suicide. And we started off then, we decided we got a good team around us, and we decided to try and fill in that gap. And we launched SOSAD counselling centres, starting off in Drogheda in 2008. And it's grown now to 6 branches with 550 people in counselling this week. We don't have waiting lists. You know, people can walk in and we see them. We give them a cup of tea, we'll have a chat, we'll see them straight away. If anybody rings up for appointment, we get them in as soon as they're ready, as fast as we can. And then it's our rule that everybody has to start counselling within a week of the assessment. Well, to be honest, when we were talking about suicide, when we were talking about starting off the charity first, it was supposed to be only for people bereaved by suicide, because we didn't want anybody to suffer what we did as a family, you know, and help them through that process. And then we said, hold on a minute, wait a minute, that's God. The people that are coming to us and ringing us and contacts and all that are more interested in suicide intervention, suicide prevention, this kind of stuff. And we said, okay, right, we go with that. And then carrying on the stories, it quickly dawned on us that depression is a big part of suicide. They say 60 to 80% of people who die by suicide are depressed, somewhere in there. They say that. So we said, right, okay, we can't shun these people, we can't turn them away. Let's get them in before, even if they're not suicidal, before they're suicidal, right? And it'll be easier to help them, rather than sending them away and then coming back next year and saying, listen, I'm suicidal, can you help me now? So that's why we do it. We try to help anybody. We stick to what we know. We stick to people with depression, yeah, anxiety, stress, depression-related illness, medical illnesses, suicide intervention, suicide prevention, suicide awareness, and then bereavement support for those bereaved by suicide. We stick to that because we're good at that. But other cases like autism, ADHD, schizophrenia and all that, we know a man, we know somebody. We never say we don't help you. We will get them engaged in that, with that group before they leave this building. Well, we don't get any funding whatsoever. Government HSE don't fund us. You know, I know, I don't know why, right? Now it's bad that we don't get funding, but it's kind of good that we don't get funding. Is we're not under the control of anybody. We don't report to the HSE. We don't, all our clients' information is confidential and stays here, and we don't give that to anybody. That's the good part of it. So that said, the community is fabulous. They keep us going. Everything comes from the community. Everything comes from people like Sarah, like Sandra, like people who've been here before. They're good. They're our best fundraisers. They're brilliant because they want to pay us back. They feel a duty to pay us back, and fair play to them. So it's the local community that keeps us going, and it's so important. Without them, we wouldn't be here. We just wouldn't be here. And if I stopped this place and walked, imagine if I said, right, we're closing SOSAD now, there'd be 200 or 300 people in Drogheda trying to lynch me. I wouldn't make that in the bottom of the street. So for my own safety, I have to keep the place open. It's unbelievable. I mean, 3 mountains a month, right? People come up to us and they say, look, I'm going to do a mountain. We say, yeah, that's brilliant. You know, fair play to you. Are you fit? Are you ready for it? Are you deliver SOSAD? Thanks for thinking. We're so delighted. And she comes along and says, I'm doing 3 in 3 months. We go, what? What are you talking about? Did I get that right? And she said, so she's brilliant. And talking to her, she's dedicated for it. But that's one of them cases, right? Where she feels she owes us in a way, you know, for the help and support she got. And she's stepping out there and saying, that's brilliant. And she's going to do it. Fair play to her. I'd be so looking at her. I won't be doing it.